Now, Estate Planning 101 with attorney Leigh Cowden of Vermillion Law.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Estate Planning 101. As always, Leigh Cowden with Vermillion Law Firm is joining us. How are you on this fine summer afternoon?
I'm great. Weather is perfect.
Great. Have you enjoyed your summer so far? What have you been up to?
Absolutely. Just having lots of family over. A lot of grandkids running around, enjoying the pool.
Good. I bet that's a lot of fun. Well, today's topic is aging solo. So what that means is someone who's getting up there in age, but they're not they don't have any close family members around them. They're not married. They may not have any kids. So why is this becoming an important issue now in your line of work?
So we do see this pretty commonly, and sometimes it's a person who has outlived other family members, or they've just moved far away from other family members, but otherwise they feel very alone in the area where they're living because they don't have somebody that they could call up and say, can you run to the bank for me, or could you help me, maybe get on my bank account with me so you can help me with my bill paying. There's really not someone there to do that for them. And as you're getting older and you start having health issues, it can be quite scary to think, who's going to help take care of me if something happens, or who's going to watch over my house or my pets if something happens to me.
And when you don't have children or another close relative nearby, you might have to rely on some paperwork documents. What do people need for that?
So there's some pretty critical documents we always recommend, and then there's some other ancillary ones that I do recommend as well, but they're not as critical. But the most critical ones are a durable power of attorney. That is for someone that you designate to manage your financial life, everything from writing checks for you to paying your mortgage to taking care of credit cards, your safe deposit box. That gives them the power to do anything with your financial life. So obviously you need to use somebody that you trust, implicitly to do that. A healthcare power of attorney document, so that allows someone to make healthcare decisions for you if you're ever incapacitated and can't speak for yourself. A living will or advance directive is another important one, because if you're ever in a terminal health condition, we need to know, do you want to have resuscitation? Do you want to be put on a ventilator? Or when it's your end of life, do you just want to be let go? And so someone needs to make the decision for you. I always tell people, you need to make the decision for yourself in advance so someone does not have the burden of making that decision for you. And then, of course, a will or a revocable trust, something that gives direction as to what should happen to your assets after you pass away. And then who should be in charge of that process of making sure your wishes are followed.
And what happens if someone does not have those documents in place?
Well, that's really unfortunate when I see that happen. I always tell people, get your estate planning documents done, as soon as you can, because if you don't do it in advance of needing it, then we have to turn to the courts for resolution. And so for someone who has lost capacity, they can no longer make decisions for themselves, that is a conservatorship or guardianship hearing, and it can be quite expensive. It is time consuming. It can take months to get done. And if someone hasn't stepped forward, or you haven't pre-chosen a person to be that guardian for you, the court may choose somebody you don't even know, or they may choose a person that you really didn't want to have that type of power over your life. So it's really important to kind of do the planning in advance of needing it.
And you mentioned guardians, but who else could somebody plan to be the one that can be in charge of the estate if you don't have anybody that's close to you?
Yeah, so if you are here alone, you've outlived family, or you don't have children, or the people around you are not someone you feel like can handle that type of thing for you, you can always use a professional. So at Vermillion Law, we do trust administration. We also handle guardianship and conservatorship for people. If you have a trust type estate plan, like a revocable trust, there are also other professional trustees. There's a company in Knoxville called the Trust Company. All the larger banks have a trust division, so there are a lot of professionals out there that do it. And then you can also use trusted friend or family. But I will say that in my experience, you have to be careful about who you choose, because they need to be a good communicator. They need to be somebody who's very good with managing their own money, because they're going to be managing theirs and yours. They need to be somebody who is not easily influenced by others, because when you're in that position of managing an estate, a lot of people want to give you their opinions. And it needs to be somebody who's just kind of a stronger personality, because if somebody suffers from depression or anxiety or things like that, this is a lot of stress to put on a person for them to take over managing your life. So you don't want to send somebody who's fragile into a difficult situation.
So this sounds like a support system that you guys have for anybody that wants to be a part of this, but how important is that support system from your side of things when you're helping these people out?
Well, I think that's a great question, because a lot of people look at a lawyer as, oh, they're just going to draft some documents and that's the end of the relationship. But when you're dealing with a law firm like Vermillion Law, this is really all we do for people. And so we're not just here for our client when they're doing the planning. We're here for the family after. So when there is something's happened to one of our clients, they become ill or they've passed away, we're one of the first phone calls that is made by the family, and they say, what do we do from here? So we're able to hold their hand, give them checklists of things they need to get done, who they need to speak to. We can take the documents that we've made and said, okay, this is what this will do for you. This is what you need to use here. So it's an ongoing relationship, not just for the client, but for their family who needs help after when something happens. So I say having an estate planning attorney as part of your team is important. If you have a larger estate, having an accountant that knows what's going on, even more so a financial advisor. Financial advisors help you invest your money, but they're also there for family when something happens to you. So these are all great support members for your team.
And what are some of the mistakes that you see people make when people go through this?
The biggest mistake I see people make is just not doing the planning, putting it off. I mean, estate planning is one of the most procrastinated things that come up in somebody's life. People don't like talking about dying or being ill. They also worry that maybe they don't have someone in their life that's a good decision maker for them, so they just put it off for that reason. But if you put it off too long, then it becomes a big, big problem. I've seen people lose a lot of money because people take advantage of the situation. Judges get involved, lawyers get involved. It becomes very expensive and stressful. So I would say the biggest mistake is just putting it off.
And putting it off is just something you want to avoid, but what's some more advice that you can give somebody that's planning this out on their own?
Definitely speak to somebody who specializes in this area that knows what they're doing. So I would say an estate planning attorney or an elder law attorney. Both of those types of law deal with estate planning documents. Unfortunately, with artificial intelligence out there nowadays and Google, a lot of people download stuff off the internet and think that's good enough. They want to save a penny here or there, to DIY. And every time I see those documents, it's a disaster. They don't know the right language to use. They don't know what the law is here in Tennessee. They don't execute the documents correctly. And so the law just disregards the documents. So it ends up costing more money to fix those problems than it would have cost to just do it right the first time.
All right, thank you, Leigh Cowden with Vermillion Law Firm. As always, thank you so much for joining us for Estate Planning 101. We will see you again next month. And for now, let's send things on over to Zach with a look at our forecast.